Welcome to the final workbook exercise video for Hebrew 1 and 2, Bright Old Testament 502-504 online edition. This is the Hithpael stem, which is the easiest of all the stems to recognize. It's not terribly common in the Old Testament, but when it occurs, it is very obvious. So let's go ahead and dive in. Let's begin with some parsing. Go ahead and parse number 1. Number 1 is a Hithpael imperfect. You see the yod prefix followed by the hirik with a tav and a shva afterwards, and then we have the dagesh and the dalet in the middle of the stem. So this is a Hithpael imperfect third masculine singular. How about number 4? Number 4 is a Hiphial perfect. You'll notice that there is a hey at the beginning, but there is no tav, as in hit. There is no t in the hit, just the hey. Here we have a holam vav because the yod that was the first letter of the root became a holam vav. You'll notice the long e underneath the tzadeh, the long I class vowel, the seireh. All of these indicate that this is a Hiphial perfect because we have the second masculine plural ending, the tav plus the segol plus the mem at the very end of this verb. So Hiphial perfect 2MP. What about number 7? Number 7 does have the tav after the yod. We have a vaytol, a vav consecutive, followed by the yod plus the hirik plus the tav, yit. So this is a hit pael. We have the dagesh in the kaf as a confirmation. This is a third masculine plural because we have the yod prefix and the shirik suffix. How about number 10? Number 10 is a Hithpael participle. You can see the mem with the hirik, followed by the tav with the shva, the dagesh and the dalet, and the hirik yod mem ending, indicating Hithpael participle masculine plural. How about number 13? Number 13 is a vav consecutive. You see the hirik yod, followed by the tav, indicating a Hithpael, and the dagesh and the kaf. Since there's nothing else other than the yod prefix, this is a Hithpael imperfect 3ms. "16 is a straightforward Hithpael perfect 1cs, the tav plus the hirik yod at the end indicating the 1cs. How about number 19? Number 19 is also a Hithpael, although instead of the tav, we see the shin. The shin and the tav have actually traded places, so that the root is shin mem resh, the tav usually coming between the aleph and the shin. Instead, the shin and the tav switch, so that sometimes we call this a hishtafel instead of a Hithpael. Here it's an imperfect because of the aleph prefix. It is a 1cs because of the aleph prefix, and again, we know that it's a Hithpael. How about number 22? Number 22 is also a hishtafel, with the shin and the tav having switched places. Again, this is very common with those sibilants, the shin, the sin, the tzadeh, where the tav will trade places. Here we have a Hithpael, perfect, 1CP, the nu at the end indicating 1CP, the nun plus the shirik. Again, the root is shamar, but the shin and the tav have changed places. How about number 25? Just to keep you on your toes, number 25 is a cal imperfect 1cs from shamar. Again, there's no tav here, so this is not a Hithpael. There's no dagesh. There's nothing else other than aleph. So this is a cal imperfect. The hey at the end is actually a directional hey. Basically, I will guard it, the hey being the feminine object. Let's move on now to our next set of exercises, again doing parsing. How would we parse number 1? Number 1 is a straightforward Hithpael imperfect 3ms, the yod prefix, the tav after the yod, dagesh and the kaf, and the vayik tol, the vav consecutive at the beginning. How about number 4? Number 4 is also a Hithpael. You can see the hit at the beginning. This is not a Hithpael imperfect though, but a Hithpael perfect. It is a 2MP because of the tav mem at the end of the verb. How about number 7? Number 7 is also a Hithpael perfect. You see the dagesh in the lamed. You see the hit at the beginning of the verb. You see the tav plus the hirik yod at the end, indicating the 1CS. How about number 10? Number 10 is also a Hithpael, only this time it is an imperfect because we have tit instead of hit, where the hey has been replaced by the tav prefix. We still have the shurik at the end in combination with the first tav prefix, so this is a Hithpael imperfect second masculine plural. How about number 13? Number 13 is clearly a Hithpael participle because we have mit at the beginning, and it is masculine singular. Again, the mem plus the hirik plus the tav in the shva, and the dagesh in the samek. How about number 16? Number 16 is a Hithpael perfect. We might be tempted to see the hirik yod and assume that it's a hifil. However, you'll notice that the hey is missing. Hey before nun becomes a hirik yod. We still have the hit at the beginning, indicating that this is a perfect, a Hithpael perfect, followed by nu, nun with a shurik at the end of the verb. So this is a Hithpael perfect 1CP. How about number 19? Number 19 is a Hithpael imperative, second feminine plural. Now we might look at this and say, how are we supposed to know that this is an imperative? Well, we know it's an imperative because we have the na at the end of the verb, the nun plus the kamets plus the hey, but na only shows up on the two verb forms that have a tav at the front, a second feminine plural and a third feminine plural. There is no tav, though, at the beginning of this verb. It's not tit, it's hit with a hey. That's because the first tav prefix has dropped and been replaced by the hey. That's how we know that it's an imperative. If we had a tav at the beginning of this verb instead of the hey, it would be an imperfect. But as it is an imperative. Hithpael imperative, second feminine plural. How about number 22? Number 22 is exactly the same. Again, another Hithpael imperative, second feminine plural. How about number 25? Number 25 actually has two options. It's either a Hithpael perfect because of the hit at the beginning, third common plural. However, because of the fact that we have the shurik at the end of the verb, we could have had a tav prefix, in which case it would be second masculine plural, the tav having dropped and adding in place the hey, which would make it a Hithpael imperative second masculine plural. So either of these would be correct, and context would have to tell us. Well, that brings us to the end of this particular workbook exercise video, and not just to this particular lesson, this brings us to the end of all of our workbook videos. You now have the opportunity to do some of the exercises to practice for your final, but this is it. This is the end of your homework officially, just the preparation for the final, and then you are done with this class. It's been an enjoyable semester, and I look forward to seeing you hopefully in Hebrew exegesis.